All right, Instructor Z here.
I'm Jason.
All right, we're with Tactical Rifleman, and this week we're going to be talking about what the best martial art is for self-defense. So I get that question all the time, Jason. Like, guys come up to me and they ask, like, how can I avoid getting my ass beat if I've never done anything like wrestling or jiu-jitsu or kung fu or whatever? And the context that they ask me is they just want something fast and easy to be able to use right away. I'm sure you've had that same question coming to you. Like, they say, Navy SEALs, how do they do it? Or Green Berets, how do they do it? There's no easy answer. Would you agree?
I agree.
So if you want the best way to defend yourself in a short amount of time, or the average Joe's amount of time, where you don't want to commit 40 hours a week or a lifetime of training, you're gonna have to work some principles. And you're gonna have to work those principles enough where you can utilize them subconsciously when you're faced with the stress of a real fight or somebody really trying to whoop your ass or hurt one of your loved ones even. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So a couple keys to it. And Jason's got a wrestling background, wrestling and jiu-jitsu, MMA background for myself. So when you break it all down, all those nice techniques, they work great, especially if you've got all the fundamentals down already, and then you start going against another trained opponent who learns how to counter all of the good techniques that you have, and they have fundamentals as well. Yeah, you got to improve on your technique and do feints. You have to add things to your arsenal. But the layman, the man in the street, or the drunk guy that you might be fighting, they're probably not going to know all that, and you just need these principles, and you need to be effective with these principles. So wrestling, if you had to take somebody down or get control of somebody, what did you have to do?
First thing you'd probably go to is get control of the hips and the head. Can't do much without getting control of the hips of the head.
So there's no trickery or mysticism to it. It's mechanical. If I get control of one of these things on Jason and I get him off balance, I'm going to get in the better position. And position is everything. In order to maintain a good position, you have to have a good base. That means I have to have an athletic stance, just like Jason and I have. And this could be an aggressive looking stance like he and I are boxing or fighting, or it could be a stance where I'm just explaining something to Jason, like, hey man, look, it's cool, we're working things out. But notice that my feet are staggered. I don't have my feet parallel with each other because that's a tipping hazard for me. So one's staggered, I got a little kickstand here, about shoulder width apart. I've got my interview stance going on with my hands because this can very easily turn into explaining to Jason and appealing to his mercies, or into fighting or protecting myself or drawing a gun, whatever the case is. So this is what I got going on. Now, as far as base goes, if he decides to pressure me or grab at me or punch me, I got to be able to counter whatever force or energy he's putting towards me, right? So if Jason's just pushing me, just a basic demonstration here, and I stand like this and I don't move my feet at all to readjust my base to be balanced, then I'm going to tip and I'm going to be stumbling a little bit to catch my feet back up under me. So one little thing I use is a little hop step. So if Jason pushes me, I just kind of hop into place, right, and reset my base to give counter pressure to whatever energy that Jason's giving me. So you're just hopping into place, right? Position is everything. Now, some people say, well, if I'm a boxer, and what's that type of position got to do with anything? Well, boxers will tell you as well, in order to hit somebody effectively, I need to have a good position where I can not be countered, hopefully, and I can get the maximum amount of effectiveness from my punches. So if I'm right-handed and I get positioned on Jason this way, where I line him up with my shoulder in my right hand, that's going to allow me an effective punch to his, to give him Dane Bramage, like Carl would say, right? So we got base down. Now, I use the term manage space because sometimes I want to be in on a guy because I want to take him down. Maybe I'm a police officer, maybe there's somebody breaking into my house and I don't want him to get loose in the house. I need to get control of him, much like Jason said, get control of the head or hips. So I might have to take up space between he and I. Maybe he's trying to punch me and I'm covering and protecting myself, and I need to get inside in order to get control of him mechanically, all right? But there's also some cases where I don't want to be in this fight. Maybe he's got a knife, maybe he's reaching for my gun, maybe I failed him and he's real strong, and I'm like, I don't want to be in this situation. Let me make space so that I can run, have time to get my gun out, or readjust myself and figure out what the hell is going on, because this is out of the blue and I wasn't ready for this fight right now, right? So give us time to process, that old OODA loop thing, right? So what does managing space look like? Well, it could be just my foot movement, right? So if I'm managing space, I can't allow him to get a hold of me. I can move backwards. If he comes in, I can turn angles, right? Just to get like the old Toro, the bullfighter guy, right? Let him go through, let that energy go elsewhere while I move here and collect my thoughts and figure out what the hell to do next, right? But if he gets his hands on me, managing space can look like a stiff arm, straight out just like this. Notice where I'm grabbing too, a frame on him, not an arm or something that's gonna move out of the way. The crook of his neck and shoulder here is a good frame for me to anchor onto, right? So if he pushes in right now, he's gotta get his head off of this line or this structure that I've made between us before he can do anything to me effectively. If he gets past that, maybe I didn't see him coming in soon enough and I couldn't get that stiff arm out. He gets in closer, I've got a forearm here. Some wrestlers call this the collar tie, all right, or a Muay Thai clinch, it kind of resembles, all right? But I've got my forearm in here and my elbow, so there's bone and structure in between Jason and I as he's trying to take up the space to grab my gun, get a hold of me, or whatever the case is, right? So I've got another space saver here. I'm managing the space. Last resort, if we got against a wall or something of that nature, maybe I'm trying to get him down and he comes in and maybe I need my hands free, I replace this arm with my head here, and now I've got two hands. Maybe I could grab something on him, maybe I could control this knife hand, maybe I could keep him from getting his gun out until I could figure out something else to do. Maybe I could keep him from getting my gun. Or I can punch him from here effectively, I can move away and get away and make space so I can pull that gun out. So let's go over this again. Our good athletic stance, all right? Hands, interview position. I'm maintaining awareness of my space between them now because right now he could reach out and touch me, so I like to be out here a little bit so I have reactionary time, or the reactionary gap we call it. And base, being balanced. If he's pushing me, I gotta be able to tip back him. I don't wanna tip over. I have to apply energy back into him, reacting to his energy given. And lastly, managing space, whether that looks like this, or even one I didn't mention, putting my knee in as he's trying to push me against the wall and bouncing on one leg until I can make space and get away. I'm managing that space until I decide to go inside. Lastly, what I'll tell guys is, when in doubt, all is lost. Be on top. If we go to the ground, I want to be on top, which gives me the capability of everything that I just told you. Gives me the capability of drawing a weapon or a tool, gives me the capability of punching or throwing effective strikes if I know how to do that and I'm comfortable with that, and really gives me the capability to get the hell away or get behind something so I can process what's going on and figure out what my next step is. So if it does go to the ground, get on top is what I'll teach guys. And if I have to detain someone and they're giving me a problem and I can't get them down, when in doubt, control the hips. Everything goes wrong, he's pulling away, he starts swinging at me. I need to get in and control these hips and take him down. Not a headlock here, right? What happens if I put you in this headlock, Jason, and you control my hips? Lift me up. That sucks if I get landed on my head. Control the hips when in doubt. I can take him down, and I want to be on top so I can have the options there for me. How would you get that capability with the amount of time that you have? Well, there's a lot of things. Jason, like I mentioned, is a wrestler. Being that we're veterans, I've used my veteran allure to go into wrestling teams and talk to the coaches and allow me to come and train with their wrestlers a little bit, the bigger guys, right? They usually have, what, 200 and something pounders, most wrestling teams in high school, even the big guys, and you work some of this big man wrestling. You don't have to shoot, you don't have to bust your knee up, you don't have to hurt your old man knees if you're like me. But you can work a lot of leverage and angles and managing that space between somebody that knows how to take up that space and get through your defenses. And it's gonna force you to base and manage space. You're gonna get on your butt a couple times by a young kid. So be it. Do that once or twice a week on a regular basis, and you're gonna learn a lot of these fundamentals that you could probably defeat or defend yourself from I would say 95% of the world if you just had the basics of wrestling and grappling as far as the base and managing space goes. Just those fundamentals alone. And then once you have those, you can start adding all the sexy techniques that you want. I can start adding a simple punch. If I can manage space here and I learn how to do one knee, manage space and I knee. If I learn how to do just one elbow, I'm managing space, I elbow and I get away. If I learn how to do one punch, I keep him off me, I make him pay for it. He thinks twice about coming in anymore, and I have the chance to go to tools or run away. So think about that. You don't have to be a ninja. You don't have to know everything under the sun as far as martial arts is concerned, and you don't have to have beautiful belts exactly to be an average Joe that just wants to defend himself or his family. You just need these principles. So that's it. Instructor Z, Jason with Tactical Rifleman. If you're interested in getting some quality hands-on training with Tactical Rifleman, reach out to us, let us know. We've got classes in the work already. Subscribe, hit the little bell, tune in every Friday, get those videos, and keep the comments coming, guys. Thank you.
What I'm saying. You're courageous right now. You're going to learn some stuff. You're going to be immersed. It's going to be great. But you got to face it every day. You got to keep fighting that fight. Right? It don't just happen. It gets harder when people expect you to know something. It's harder because now you got to keep up with it. And now the fear of embarrassment or failure is even greater. So the more you know, it's almost the more courageous you got to be. So it's a responsibility, essentially. All right? So remove fear, inability to predict outcome. That's what we're removing. All right? To some extent, but you're still gonna have to face it. Build confidence through, you know what confidence is? There's two things that build confidence. It's competence and preparation.
If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you don't miss out on anything. If you like the shirt that we're wearing in the video, you can get it in our store.